Hello and welcome to Reuzel Live. Today is June 30th, 2025. My name is Nicholas Giberson with Reuzel Education. Today we have a very special appearance from almost everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Ronnie. Take it away, Ronnie.
Thank you very much for having me. It is a pleasure to be back behind the chair. And this time I am here at the Reuzel studio. It is a pleasure and a privilege. And so without further ado, it is time to get some hair cutting on. I met my client very recently. In fact, I actually had no clue as to what it was that I was going to do for his hair. And I still don't know what to do because it's so overgrown. I feel that with this haircut, we're going to follow some fundamental steps with hair cutting, and we're going to take off all of this bulk and start to begin a sketch before we start to lean towards what could be our finished product. It's going to be a surprise for all of us today. First, I'm going to wet the hair. This water bottle contains a little splash of Reuzel's hair tonic, as it's going to help soften the hair, allowing my tools to pass through the hair and create nicer, cleaner sections. Also, when wetting the hair, it's going to allow me to see what I can actually do with product. And of course, our favorite product, Reuzel, we get to play and see what end result that we're going to be working towards. So, going to wet all of the hair. Combing through, seeing how the hair growth pattern is, looking for the whirl at the back and what direction it wants to go in, which could possibly dictate which way I would like to put a parting, which way around the hair goes, because we know that hair typically grows in a circular motion, either clockwise or counterclockwise. And so one side will always lay back a little bit better than the other side. The great thing about Reuzel's hair tonic is it's just got some of the most beautiful fragrance, and I absolutely love it. It is my favorite product. Really great. Little tip is to keep your bottle of Reuzel hair tonic in the fridge. So on hot days like we're having here today in the Netherlands, you can seriously cool down and refresh your hair and feel super good, super chill before you go out and enjoy that beautiful weather. So I've already got the hair wet, and I can see that it becomes quite easy to manage actually with a little water. So that allows me to see what I can and cannot do with products. If I want to push the hair slightly forward, can I actually get a little bit more volume? Is there any growth pattern that I should be concerned about? If I take it too short in areas, will it just go stick up? And it takes a lot of barber certificates to make that noise, right, people? So I'm going to create a first section along the parietal ridge. That's the widest point of the head. And the reason that I want to begin in this area is that's ultimately going to dictate the shape of the hair, as well as also the length on the top, because no matter what I take off along the sides here today, at any length, the top can be connected to. And so the client comes in and says, it's been 4 months since my last haircut, and I take off 4 months, which is about 4 centimeters. I take it off. The top can be cut relative to it when I connect it to that baseline. And even now you can see previous haircut matches beautifully. And I love to see that with the haircut structure from the previous haircut. And it starts, it kind of helps you recognize what it is that you can actually, like how you can recognize the cutting process of either the previous barber or your own work. Section will pass all the way around. A great way of actually finding and how to address the first part of that, the initial parting, is actually to follow the hairline all the way around. So you can get your comb, you can brush it all the way around, and we're going to drop it at the back. It allows us to retain length in the crown. That's the whirl at the back. The reason why retaining length at the back is important is because otherwise it will just ping up, and then we're going to have a lot more stubbornness. So as you can tell, my fabulous model here today hasn't had a haircut in a long time. And I'm thinking about going a little short today because it is so hot outside. I feel like that you might benefit greatly from having a bit of hair lopped off and start to feel a bit more chill. Creating sections is very important. Taking your time with sections is important. Don't go rushing through it. Make sure that you're utilizing the mirror in front of you. You're checking that the recession area, this area in the front, is even on both sides. And even if I were to do a scumbo boogie, for example, I could be asymmetrical. I still want to make sure the sections are even on both sides, nevertheless. Even if I were to cut more length off on one side to get that nice kind of asymmetry in the boogie. Now, a really quick method of getting rid of a lot of bulk will be clipper over comb, which is a technique that I really enjoy using quite a lot. Busy barbershops, busy hair salons, sometimes you just want to take off a lot of bulk in a very short period of time. Only you've got to make sure that we do it. So I've got my clipper comb, I can elevate the hair, and I can actually differentiate what length I want by simply bringing the comb in, pulling it out, but always making sure that the comb is in my center. If I'm standing over here, certainly not going to have a very good posture, and I'm here for a long time as well as a good time, so I want to make sure my back is looking good. And when I elevate and cut and create clean sections all the way through and reduce all of that. Of course, when we do bring the hair up, we can also create a nice square integral structure. I'm going to wet the hair again, and then I'm going to work around. So my clippers are closed, and I'm just going to start taking bulk off. Beginning at the widest point of the head, just above the ear, and go in, and I'm going to. So when I bring my comb up and I'm moving along, I'm actually following the previous cut guideline that allows me to make sure that there is method in the madness. Sometimes we look like that what we're doing is just very nonchalant, we're just going through and not really following a plan, but everything is like building furniture. Point A to point B to point C. Notice that when I'm at the back of the head and I'm moving around the head, my sections become smaller. There's always a lot more to do to create a rounder shape. Whereas when I'm at the widest point of the head, I can bring the comb up and I can actually utilize the majority of the comb to take off as much hair as possible. So now I have this guideline. This guideline is going to dictate the shape of the haircut. It's going to dictate how much hair I want off the top. I can actually make my way down to the next step. I bring my comb down and I look for the previous cut guideline and I'll take off length there. I know the thickness of this comb is about 4.5 millimeters. That would be a 1.5 guard if you use clipper guards. That is also about 1.5 weeks of growth from zero, which is why clipper guards are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. So about a month is about 1/2 inch, 12 millimeters. And so if you ever find a client that actually has the wish to take off, say, a month's worth of hair, we know that we're going to take off about 1/2 inch. And the same goes for just utilizing it for the length on the back and sides. So going down, finding my previous cut section. And already we've cut down to a length that is short. Still hair, you can still see that there's hair. We'll still be able to see hair and the comb lines when we are combing, but we are not going to skin today. And so there is a little coverage, which is very nice. So again, combing downwards allows us to create cleaner cutting. Again, up. And making my way around and remove as much hair as possible. I don't know who's watching, but I do hope that you're all having a splendid summer. The weather is amazing where you are. I'm having a wonderful time here in Rotterdam. I got to visit Scorum and get a haircut again. I absolutely love coming out here. Do know that it is a fantastic barbershop to go to, and of course there is the 2-day course, and today is the 6th anniversary of me graduating the first time I visited the Old School Academy for the 3-day cutting course way back when I had less grey hair. And it is absolutely fantastic to come back here. It kick-started a lot about my career, and it was so great to meet everyone out here. So do check it out. And today, of course, I have not only the pleasure but the privilege of being able to cut here at the studio, and my whiz kid behind the camera is none other than Joram. That's Reuzel's social media manager. He has been absolutely incredible. He's set up this fantastic station with so many cameras. They are getting all of my angles. So that's why we're going to also make sure that the haircut looks good from every single angle. You're going to be handsome in 3 different angles. Just 3. So now I'm just taking off this bulb. I already know that I could use the clipper and the comb, and I could just work all the way through. Now there's no correct method all the way. I can't say this is the way to do it. I want people to have the opportunity to let us grow together. And so some people may not feel comfortable just doing clipper over comb, so you could also get a 1.5 guard. You could get a number 1 guard, and you could open up the clippers and it will create 4.5 millimeters. And this will give you an opportunity to not only play with one technique, but also understand that there is many ways of being able to create a haircut. And that is something that is always a great feeling. It's how we learn. I feel that that's always quite an important thing. There's no correct way. So have fun, experiment. If you're a little nervous, don't worry. We all have been, we all are. I still am. So they're having a lot of fun. So right now, baseline hair, it's going down, it's looking beautiful. Look straight into the camera. Smile at the world. And so we get to see the structure. So I've still got lots of length. This is my connection point. This is where it's going to be a lot of fun. I haven't taken off too much length in the crown because I don't want anything off this just yet, because otherwise, and it sticks up, and then you just, that is, you know, it's always better to be safe than sorry and take it down a few levels. It's not all about just going in heavy-handed and rushing through something. Do take your time. This is practice. This is fun. And of course, if you meet a new person for the first time, you don't know how the hair is going to behave when you take out that weight, be very careful with it. After all, I would like my client to be a client of mine for a long time as well as a good time, right? Now I'm working with my clipper comb and my clipper, and I'm going to push the comb against the clipper. And when I move upwards, it's going to be acting as if it were a guard. Now, do be very careful with this, because one slip, of course, there is no more guard. So I do like to put my finger underneath the comb. Although the comb is going against the head to create 4.5 millimeters, I'm actually now securing the comb, so I can move upwards and in. I can angle the comb out. I can create a nice smoother blend. Do find that it is easier to move your client whenever you feel the need to. And I'm just going up. And when I come up, I'm looking for the longest portion along that parietal ridge, this baseline, and I'm moving the comb outwards. And that's going to taper the hair. It's going from short to long. And combing back down. The reason we comb back down is because we do push the hair up with the comb. And I want to make sure I'm catching all of that hair. I really enjoy this particular method of cutting hair, actually. It really does follow the fundamental rule, the cardinal rule of KISS. Keep it simple, Scumbassador. I remember talking about the rule of KISS actually during my Scumbassador application process, and it just slipped out because I wanted to create something that would allow me to remember that not only is it about making sure the client can understand their hair, but also I should remind myself that when I'm going from point A to point B to point C, I'm not necessarily going back on myself and fixing something. We're not necessarily going to be a typewriter of going back and forth in the way that we have to fix errors, but rather a typewriter that goes back and forth and creates this beautiful story, which is the haircut. That was a metaphor, right? You like that one? Yeah. Of course, if you guys got any questions out there, please do feel free to ask. You're also welcome just to send some love. Say, hey, I can't wait to read all of the comments afterwards and see how judgmental you really all can be. It's a lot of fun. I love the support. I'm deeply grateful for anyone that does tune in. It is absolutely phenomenal. So thank you if you are here today. Now, if I were to try and use just a clipper guard, I could. And when I go upwards, similar to the way that I'm moving my comb outwards, I would just simply angle my clippers outwards and go up to connect towards that longest portion that we are looking for. And clipper control is a really cool thing. Actually, it's something that I started to recognize a lot more, and which, I mean, we learn about this, but subconsciously, perhaps I just started to really think about it because everything started to become a bit natural. And one day I realized about just how much I really enjoyed watching my clippers move through any haircut. And there's just something so beautiful about barbering. I've done 10,000 haircuts, 10,000 hours, 10 years of barbering, and every now and then it's just great to have a little retrospective or a little bit more of, wow, this process can actually be really, really quite cool. And before we started this video today, my fabulous model was actually just saying, I've learned more about my hair in these last 5 minutes than ever in my entire life. And I feel that this is a very important aspect of cutting hair. We should also be educating and entertaining in a way that allows a client to go to any barbershop and know exactly what it is that they're getting. Because the more that they understand their hair, the more that they can actually enjoy fabulous Reuzel products and enjoy their haircut, enjoy knowing how to style it properly, understanding not necessarily confusing science-based facts about the hair, but rather just having an opportunity to be able to style the hair in a really simplified method. After all, we are following the rule of KISS, keep it simple, Scumbassador. And I love informing my clients about how to look after their hair because at the end of the day, it is my job. And I would love that when they come in and they're giving me money for a haircut, but also I want to give them the service. It's so great to have someone learn more about their hair. And that's why I say a lot of the time, like, let us grow together. The only competition you should truly ever really have is actually with yourself, so that you can just keep getting better and better and better each time. That was my feel-good speech of the day. Are you inspired? And again, just moving up. I'm just taking off bulk. I'm having a bit of fun with this actually today. There's a lot of length on top. It's beautiful texture. It's got some wave in there. It's a lot of fun. So if you start to look at the hair, you know that we're going to go shorter. We're going to keep some length on top. But if it's going to start giving you an influence as to what product we should use, you know, this is start thinking. Let's brainstorm something that we could use in my fabulous model's hair today. The teeth of the comb go down to about 3 millimeters. So when I work towards the back, I can actually, rather than using the spine of the comb, the widest point, the thickest point, and taking off the length, I could move a little lower down and start to cut so that we can create a smooth blend into the neck, essentially a fade. When we start to go absolute down into absolute zero, I don't want to take it too high. And in this particular case, I'm being a little delicate. I'm fanning the clippers. To fan the clippers, I'm just moving them up. I'm going really close to the head. Before opening the clippers. And taking off more of the fuzz around the back of the neck. And it's so hot right now here in the Netherlands. So what I'm going to do is just cool my client down slightly. I'm going to dry the hair. I'm going to dry the scalp because we're getting sticky and sweaty here. I'm wearing a really cool barber jacket. I've never worn one before. So this is a great opportunity to realize just how sweaty I can get behind the chair. I'm nervous. It's hot. You're handsome. Whew. So let's cool down. So I'm going to get my number one guard. I'm going to open up the clippers. I like this. I call it, instead of rather than using a 1.5 guard, I like to open up the clippers. I call it a tight 4.5. There's just something about the size of this clipper guard allows me to get closer behind the ear. I just really enjoy doing this. I do the same thing with a grade 2, 6 millimeters, and opening the clippers and adding an additional 50% on. And so when I add an additional 50%, it becomes 9 millimeters, and I can go in. It's essentially becoming a grade 3. And understanding your tools is always a great way of being able to utilize them to the best of your advantage. So now I'm going up and I'm going out. And all I'm doing is just creating a consistency here with the machine. Getting nice and close behind the ear. Pulling the ear down and just reducing as much hair as possible. Going upwards, there's my baseline, combing down, going up, there's my baseline, combing down. And remember, I'm trying my best not to be doing this. I really want to make sure that my posture is great, my arms, my wrists are happy. Now I'm moving around the head. Going upwards and pulling out again. Going up, pulling the clipper out. Notice that I actually do go past and I continue. Going up and continue, and if I stop just before, there's always going to be this little gap. There's going to be this line that I create, and I should go and continue past in order to ultimately reduce all of the hair and cut all of it off. Consistency is key. Remember, we are the typewriter writing the story, yeah, you remember, and we are not going back to simply fix mistakes. Because if we keep following A, B to C, and the phone rings in the shop or a customer comes in, anything, just need to turn away for a second, face this blank wall. When I come back, I know exactly where I've been because I can see the pattern. That is most important. Not that really in the barbershop I should be staring at a blank wall. But when people do ask me what my hobbies are, oh, barbering and staring at blank walls. I remember when I started barbering, I got told never to hold a clipper with two hands. I'll hold a clipper with two hands. I want to hold a clipper with two hands. Why not? Why can't I do that? There's no right or wrong way. It allows me to get that stability that makes me most comfortable. At the end of the day, our second hand can always act as a little anchor or a little opportunity to add a little safety bar as well. As is also gently holding my client, making sure that he's not headbanging his way through his haircut. Or if you've got some great music on in the shop, although personally I prefer to sound my own voice, you've got to make sure that they're not moving too much. Going upwards. And I like that little guard sizes that get right behind the ear, because there's always these little bits that sometimes you just can't quite pick up. But if I shorten and make the clipper guard slightly smaller, I do find that it goes around the ear quite nicely. So if you do like using guards, by all means, have fun with them. This was 4.5, one click down on my clippers. They've got a little click in the lever, which is great, so I can hear. And when I'm adjusting, one click down, I'm going up. Again, I'm pulling outwards because I don't want to create a gnarly line. Head slightly forward for me. Thank you very much. And the back of the neck, all the hair that grows in all the directions. Everyone thinks that we're just going to go up, but if I turn the clipper and go downwards, I can remove the hair that does ultimately grow in the opposite direction. We've got these lovely holes at the back. Yes!
Hey, just jumping on to let you know we've got viewers from all over the world, including the USA, Canada, Guatemala, Mexico, Philippines, Costa Rica, and many more.
Wow! Hello! That is fantastic. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope I'm making sense. Of course, shoot questions if you want to ask something. Going in again, just taking that off ever so lightly. Fantastic. Alrighty then. I'm going to dust you off like the antique you are. And then I'm going to get my trimmer and I'm going to do the edges. I want to cut around the ears. I want to just create a nice little bit of a line up. Would help to take off the guard. Safety first. That's it. And I'm going to go around the ear, removing any of the hair, creating a sharper edge. But I don't want to push into the hairline, especially when it comes to beautiful sunny weather. The second I start to take length off already, nothing has tanned underneath this long growth. 4 months of hair growth and all this beautiful sunshine now, especially pushing into the hairline. Not only will it grow back and then create this this stubble that's going to be there until it grows all the way out, but I want to keep it natural, a nice natural edge, as opposed to pushing into the hairline. Allows the hair just to age gracefully. Notice that I'm holding the ear, but I'm also resting. I'm not being heavy-handed, but I'm just using it as a nice little anchor so I can just stay safe. Pulling the ears down, and I'm leaning on my hand again. And it's these little subconscious techniques that I really enjoy about barbering, things that I start to recognize every now and then and go, wow, you know what? It really helps when I do this. Sometimes it takes practice. Well, everything takes practice, but sometimes it does start to come back. And if you can recognize your growth, it is great. Little trim over the comb. Now I can make my way through the top. Typically, handsome model wants to come in and all he wants to do is just really get rid of the hair. So starting on the back and the sides, now I've lopped it off and now it starts to look clean again. And he starts to go, that's the me I remember 4 months ago. And that's what I would like most. I'm stepping back, I'm assessing my work. I'm stepping around my client, I'm assessing my work. I create distance. The mirror allows me to create a distance. This is how I can see the balance of the haircut. So I can have a lot of fun. I'm going to wet the hair again. And we're going to see what we've got going on here. Plenty of length. Beautiful hair tonic fragrance. Really good for breaking down that pre-existing oil-based pomade. So the next day, refreshing yourself, allowing you to restyle the hair. So I'm combing the hair. I'm going to create these sections through the top that allow me to differentiate between the back, the corner, and the front. Parting the hair down the middle. Creating a section from just behind the ear, widest point of the head. From the apex, the highest point of the head, down towards the hairline. And that's our corner. This is our front. And likewise on the other side as well. Again, clean, slow, methodical, things that we want to do. We want to be smart. Let's see if I can make you lower. No, you're a tall drink of water. And again. I'm going to connect the back. By doing so, I've then made sure that the crown has got the right amount of length and it lays back. I'm going to make sections about the width of my comb. And I'm going to bring it out towards that baseline. I'm going to pull the hair up, parallel to the floor, and I'm going to cut. So the second knuckle any further, and I don't have as much tension. I'm also using the wide teeth on this comb as opposed to the fine teeth. There's a little wave in the hair. Too much tension, and when it bounces back, I don't want to lose too much length. I don't want too much tension, and ultimately create inconsistencies. Because when it bounces back to that natural curl, those natural waves, I want it to look good dry, not just when it's wet. And again, pulling the hair down and connecting. Making my way around the head. And it retains just this right amount of weight that I can even now comb the hair back, which is really nice to see. And on the other side as well. Again, pulling the hair down. Cutting to that second record. Now the whirl at the back here is located actually quite far over on the left-hand side, and I know it's there. So I'm aware of what's going on through the head, and that's what I did when I initially wet the hair and combed through, and I could take a look and see and inspect the hair. I said at the beginning of the haircut that I didn't know what I was doing, really, because we're just playing. And experimentation can be quite good fun, and surprising also. And so when I connect the back, I'm going to be very happy with this. And then I can start to work towards the front. I created well, I didn't create it actually, one of the staple haircuts of my barbershop back in Helsinki, Finland. I have this haircut that's actually based on the boogie, which is an asymmetrical side-parted haircut. And I realized that sometimes if a client doesn't want to part their hair, they want to brush it over. And by following the same classic ABC haircutting structure of a boogie, reducing the parting, taking it out, I got what I actually ended up calling a Beckham. It just looked like a haircut that like everyone wants because some celebrities got the haircut. I think it's great, and it became a very popular haircut. And you could keep it short. It was always a really easy way to be able to style your hair if you weren't quite used to styling your hair and you wanted to play around. And I'm kind of leaning towards doing something like that today because I've already connected the back and now I can start working towards the front. So now that I've connected the back, I can start to see what it is that we've got. Which direction does the hair grow in? We've got a little stubbornness, which is fun. I like that. I think we should play with a little rebellion. And so when what I'm gonna do is actually go from the apex, and I'm gonna create that diagonal section. And I'm actually gonna brush it all the way down, knowing that I'm gonna be combing the hair in a counterclockwise direction because the hair grows counterclockwise. And I'm gonna connect. But first, I'm going to over-direct the hair slightly backwards, and it retains length, which allows for it to actually swoosh, so to speak. Just brush over. Just retaining just a small amount of length, and so when I actually brush it, it creates this fluid motion, okay? On the opposite side, I'm going to create that diagonal section from the apex down, retaining length in the front. I'm going to pull the hair back. Now I know that this side is the side that's going to be brushed over and connecting to the baseline. I'm going to pull it down. I'm actually going to break it up ever so slightly, just so I can not create so much weight in the hair, I'm going to cut in smaller sections and just connect that, retaining a little bit of length, kind of hanging a little bit past the baseline actually, so it retains length in all the right places. Combing down again, and as you can tell, there's only one small portion to do here. It starts to brush down. And now we have length in the front. And we have this asymmetrical style that just allows us to brush over. And so when it comes to hairstyling, it's just waking up and just simply brushing it and having a lot of fun with that. There's plenty of length on top. We have all of these other guidelines. Maybe, just maybe, and this is the fun part of the cutting process, because I did notice earlier that there was a secondary well hidden in there somewhere, and now I'm brushing the hair, and because I've actually cut it, it's asymmetrical to a degree only when I connect the front. I'm now looking and wondering if it would be much more beneficial to brush the hair to the opposite side. Experimentation's fun like this. And we also have length in the crown, which does allow for this, so that is quite nice. So I feel like you would actually benefit like this, actually. Okay, let's do that. Fine. Smaller sections towards the front, combing the head down. There's the baseline. I'm just going to slightly connect everything on top. I'm going to over-direct, pointing downwards. And it creates this beautiful angular style at the front where it connects, and it basically essentially shows that we've got this extra length, this weight, and we can then throw the hair all the way up and over if we want to, and that is a lot of fun. I did briefly discuss this hairstyle before we began. I was just talking about it in terms of having a fun chat about structure and haircuts and boring my model, but it is fascinating nevertheless. So here, I can now see the hair on top. I'm going to elevate the hair. The corner's been connected. That is now the length that I'm actually going to cut to. So everything else on top can now be cut relative to the hair that I've actually connected. So by elevating this hair and actually taking the length off, I can begin to see the length I want. I'm going to bring smaller sections and work my way backwards, checking my guideline. That is always going to be the previous cut hair in front. Elevating, up, cut. If I point cut, I can create a little extra texture. I can go in. I can take off length still, elevate the hair, find the previous cut guideline. I can point cut. And we're going to be taking off the length, but still retaining a small amount of texture, which is very nice. Texture is good. It helps us remove more bulk and it shows movement, gives character to the hair. It's a lot of fun without necessarily having to wait until the end of the hair, where we get to do what I call the barber's fingerprint, which is when we ultimately will create movement, reduce weight, reduce bulk, try and make the haircut ultimately look and feel easy to style and great to look at. Coming up, again. Texture is fun. I can go through. I can just simply take off hair intermittently. We're at the crown now, so we're actually retaining as much length as possible. Is definitely a good move. And I can always cross-check by combing the hair vertically, elevating the hair, and just making sure that everything is cut consistently, carefully, and ultimately creating that hairstyle that we want. I'm now going to blow dry the hair. I'm going to blow dry the hair. I'm still cutting the hair, but I want to blow dry it. Before I blow dry, I need to use a pre-styling agent. I'm going to use one of the grooming tonic, or one of the grooming tonic products from the grooming family, because I want a light hold, of course. So I'm pre-styling. I want that low shine. I want that beautiful Palm Fresh fragrance. Most importantly, I want thermal protection. When I'm actually using a Reuzel product, I want to use it for the right reasons. In this case, I'm actually going to go through with the brand new Grooming Tonic Texture Cream because I absolutely love it. I'm going to go open my product. I'm going to get a beautiful knuckle size amount of this product. And we've got towel dry hair here. It's not oversaturated. It's just towel dry. I'm going to run the product from scalp to end, bringing it in. And even now I can just start to see a really cool hairstyle. And the cool thing about this product is that even when I blow dry, I can still continue cutting. And that is really, really important. When we are ironing the hair, so to speak, we want to give the hair that direction. I want to make sure that we have this, we've got a product that we can still work with. So I'm going to use a low heat. I can use a speed that I'm most comfortable with. I'm going to blow dry the hair from the back of the head so I can get a consistent dryness throughout the whole head of hair. And in this style, I'm actually making both sides go forward, but towards the front, it's just going to go upwards and to the side. It's almost like a crop with a little bit of a direction at the front. I've got a nozzle on the end of my hair dryer. I could take this off if I prefer to spread the airflow and dry the hair a little quicker. And I enjoy blow drying the hair without actually applying too much tension to begin with, because I get to see how the hair naturally wants to sit after the hair has been cut. I can brush. Brushing and combing with product in the hair allows me to follow what is one of my new rules, the triple D. It is to direct, detangle, and distribute the product, okay? And I love this because when I'm showcasing this to clients, it gives them an opportunity to understand why we brush the hair, why we are directing the hair, how to distribute your product, to detangle the hair. I'm wiggling the hairdryer around. I've actually warmed up this hairdryer to the highest heat, and I'm just wiggling it through. Too much heat can cause frizz, so I am being quite delicate. I'm moving the hairdryer around because I don't want to burn my client. I don't want to burn the hair. I don't want to hurt the scalp. I'm going to go clip private comb again. And I'm going to now with dry hair around the bridal ridge, I'm now going to do this final connection and just help remove anything that I may have missed and create a much more bespoke hairstyle, something that goes with the head shape. And again, gently guiding my client's head. I'm not forcing their hair, forcing their head anyway, making them uncomfortable. And the reason I quite enjoy this hairstyle is because it's not all about this debonair classic style, so to speak, but rather actually understanding that we are still using the classic techniques that we like to use at Reuzel, and certainly things that you can learn at the Old School Academy. And I still get to create something with a little bit more, let's say, modern textured style. Going through, just connecting that one final bit, and then I'm going to go through my blending scissors. We're not thinning the hair, just going to make the hair work. Allow us to be able to put product through a little easier. Allow for the hair to be quicker to dry. What I call the barber's fingerprint. Initially, a term that I used after watching Rob, that's the Bloody Butcher. His fingerprint is immaculate. I absolutely love watching him cut hair. And he will spend just so much just looking at the hair and making sure that everything's going to be pliable and work and movement and move, and it just makes sense. Head back up on me, thank you very much. That's the politest I've ever been to anyone. I ain't got my Uncle Ronnie for nothing. As we are actually on that 6th anniversary of me graduating for the first time in the Old School Academy, so actually, that was actually when Uncle Ronnie, the nickname, actually came. There are a couple of stories as to how I got that nickname. I must admit, I actually don't really know why I got that nickname. A happy 6th anniversary to Uncle Ronnie.
Gonna just have a quick sip.
You're welcome to have a quick sip.
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh, very nice. Liquid Death. I think you've inspired a hair product today, actually. It's hot here in the Netherlands. We have to stay hydrated. Alrighty, man. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to elevate the hair. If I can see anything that I want to do, I'm going to point cut in with my blending scissors. And I'm just going to allow for a little bit of extra movement. I'm going to go through. Can I see movement? Can I create movement? Can I reduce weight? Can I go straight in? About a third I can do. I'm not going down to the root. I'm not thinning the hair out. I want to make it just work. I want to make it lighter. So I'm now going through and just taking out just a little bit of bulk. And going through a little clipper over comb, scissor over comb. Elevating the hair, having a little fun. I like to think that when the comb starts to run smoothly through the hair and there's less pull, that's the right amount of hair that you've actually taken off. When it stops, that tension, that grip, I can just run through. Going in, having a bit of fun. Stepping back, taking a look, how are we doing? Not too bad. Oh, it is very hot here. Scissors are flying out of my fingers. and working my way around, combing the hair down, having a little bit of movement. Have there been any recommendations for products?
Hey,
Excellent.
Ronnie. No, I asked, and Liquid Death sounds great.
Liquid Death always sounds great. I got to say, Severed Head Pomade is an unbelievable product. It is very much well praised out in Helsinki, Finland. A lot of my clients absolutely love it. I love it. I love it. It's the best. It's got a similar fragrance to that of Reuzel Pink, which, as an old school Reuzel fan, I do enjoy that. That's a heavy hold, medium shine grease. So today we'll go with a Severed Head, and the reason I actually want to use this is because I love that it's firm but pliable. There's a nice bit of workability to it. It's a little matte, and it's going to work in the heat, and that's something that really quite interests me, because I don't want my my handsome happy chappy here to go out into the heat and have his hair fall apart. I want it to work, something dry, something fun, something to showcase his texture. So I've used blending scissors going all the way through, and now I'm going to remove any debris. Cold air only. I've already used heat. Just going to shake it up a little bit to remove debris. And the reason I'm using cold air instead of hot is because hot air manipulates the hair, and I don't need to do that anymore because I've already blow dried it. And then I can start looking at applying. So I'm just going to scrunch through, have some fun. I like it. It's laid back, it's fun, it's loose, and it's chill. The kind of hairstyle that you can just simply wake up, put a little bit of grooming tonic texture cream straight into the hair, and just go about your merry day. And I love still that with this product I can run my fingers through it as well. So now a little pomade fun. I'm going to use Severed Head. It is an awesome product. I'm going to scoop from the outside, and I'm going to actually use the back of my nail here as opposed to going the other way, because I don't want product to get underneath. Now I'm going to utilize all of it, and I'm going to warm it up between my palms so it looks like my hands have touched wet paint. Showcasing this, and I'm going to go from the back of the head, and I'm going to make my way along the parietal ridge so that I can kind of lock in those stubborn areas. I don't want to go straight through at the front, because I don't want heaviness in the front. I don't want my client to think that that's the best way of applying the product and it just ultimately weighing down the whole head of hair. I'm going to go through and just have a little play. I like the length through the hair. I love the texture. Of course, I've never really met your hair before, have I? And so it's a lot of fun going through and just having a little play as to what we can and cannot do. Well, how do we achieve what it is that we're doing? If I go through, now I fingered it through, get a styling pick to direct, detangle, and distribute product, even if I'm finishing with a little bit of playing with the hands just to actually break it up a little bit, I still want to make sure that the product does go through the hair all the way evenly. And the great thing about white products is that when they go and they dry, or they go clear through the head, it means that you put the pomade all the way from scalp to ends, exactly the way that we want it to be. Okay. I'm going forward a little bit at the front just to break it up. And we've got a lovely cowlick right here at the front. This is a little bit of character in the hair, so we can have a lot of fun, we can play. And it starts to work. Little chaos theory. Hair finds a way, of course. I like it. Hanging a little loose and fun. Are you a happy chappy?
Oh, yes, I am.
Oh, that's nice. That's what I want. So by following the same structure as the boogie, by going up very high, very tight, very square, having a lot of fun. By following very simple steps, you're able to achieve a haircut, even if you don't really know where you're quite going when you're actually taking the length off. And this is the greatest thing about cutting hair. simplify it, have fun with it, experiment by all means. This is very exciting work because sometimes we have an absolute plan. Other times we look and we go, whoa, what have we got to deal with here today? And then I just get to have a little bit of fun and play. And isn't that what it's all about when we're barbering? Having a little bit of fun and just simply enjoying ourselves. It is work, but it is fun. So 10 years of doing this, 6 years since my first visit here to Rotterdam. Let's hope I get another 10, another 6 of extra studies. Let's have some fun and let us grow together. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Leave a comment below, share, have fun. Hi, Mum. I know you're watching back in the UK. And if my son's watching, go to bed. Yeah, good fun. Messy and fun. Very 2007 indie chic, by the way. Yeah, method in the madness, I told you. Thank you very much. Are you happy?
Yes, I am.
Happy pappy. Excellent. Me too. Just want to spin you around and have some fun. Ah, yeah. Nice.
Looks great, Ronnie.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. Dankjewel.
It looks great. It looks great. All right. Cool. Hey, everybody, thanks for hanging out with us today on your Monday morning, evening, or afternoon. Just a couple of notes about some classes coming up before we sign off. Our next Denver Classics Academy, our next Denver class is going to be the Classics 2, which is a new class we're launching in July, on July 20th and 21st, which includes 4 new haircuts in a classic curriculum, including a long trim pompadour, a jelly roll, a bald fade pompadour, and a psycho quiff. And we will be at Behind the Chair in August in Dallas, Texas. We're going to be looking for models, so keep your eyes peeled for some reels and some videos coming out on how you can help us if you're in the area and you want to be a model for Robin Lane. Other than that, have a great afternoon. Enjoy your week, and we will catch you next time.